used to go through that phase that my life was 24/7 about F1. I was mentally and physically very tired. You should go and walk in the woods. I was like, what?
And actually, when you are on board of a business jet, what are you doing on board? Valtteri, good to have you here at the Sauber facility. Your home base, basically, or one of your home bases.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. You know, I know how precious time is to you and how important time is. You're fighting every weekend, basically every 10th of second.
That's true.
For time, yeah. Time is our topic of GlobeAir, of our dream team, and we always appreciate having you on board and taking care of your time. Yeah, it's a key element.
Thanks for having me.
Valtteri, maybe you explain in one sentence. What are you doing? What are you doing for a living? And why you're doing it?
Yeah, so my full name is Valtteri Victor Bottas. I'm from Finland, and for living I drive racing cars. I'm currently in Formula One, stake F1 team Kick Sauber. And I've been in Formula One as a race driver now. This is my 12th season.
Great. Yeah. The Monaco race is your 230th race. Yeah.
Yep.
So how does today feel a race to you compared to the early days?
Yeah, of course, you know, the first races, you're more nervous. But of course, at some point it becomes more routine. But in this sport, you never lose the excitement. You know, it's, over time you obviously get to know how things go. You get to know how to prepare yourself physically and mentally. But you still get the buzz. You know, it's pretty high adrenaline sport. So very addictive as well, I would say.
It's great, yeah. So you enjoy it, obviously. It's absolute passion, right?
Absolutely, okay. Yeah. Since a child, it's been my dream to be in F1.
Yeah. So you live a dream.
Living the dream, exactly.
It's great. Yeah. And is there anything else apart from F1 you really enjoy and like doing it?
I like traveling.
Yeah.
I like seeing new places and discovering, new locations, new cultures, meeting new people. I love cycling. That's about one big passion for me, and good food. That's pretty much it.
Good. It's a good setup, I would say.
And I like flying as well.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about flying a bit. Organizing your traveling, as you said, it's important to you for the business, for your sport, and as well for your private arrangements. So when do you decide to fly commercial or on a business jet?
Or with all the commitments that I have within F1 and trying that combine also a private life, it's sometimes impossible for me to fly commercially. It's just how it is. If I need to be in a certain place at a certain time, whether it's a smaller airport, sometimes it's just with my schedule it's not possible. So then I have no option than happily, of course, to travel private. Some long overhaul flights, it does make sense to fly commercial, but within Europe it's quite often private, mainly because of the time. I save time, I save energy going to places, meeting, dealing with less people, faster security, etc. So it's always trying to find the right balance.
I see, yeah. It's about time and finding more quality time, right? For yourself and for recovering and training, obviously.
Yeah, in Europe, sometimes I feel like if you fly private versus commercial, you can cut the time in half of traveling, even if you're going to the same destination, and that leaves more time for me to recover, whether it's from the race or to see my partner at home and have a dinner, which with commercial schedules sometimes I would miss the dinner. It's this kind of decision in life, and I feel like it's an investment to yourself, because in the end, time is everything.
Sure, I understand. And having time, as you said, with your partner as well, is rewarding, treats yourself, right? And it's good for your overall, condition and health and so on.
Exactly. And you need to find the right balance in life with work and home life, let's say, to maximize the time with your loved ones and the people who want to spend time with is important to me.
If you look back 10 years from now, would you say your approach to quality time has changed over the years? That you got the value of time became more important to you?
If I look back 10 years, absolutely. I feel like things are speeding up. The world is getting more hectic, and I've definitely got to appreciate more own time. So yeah, definitely. I mean, time management with all the things going on is so important, and finding time to do things that you like is not always easy. So always need to find compromises, let's say.
And actually, when you are on board of a business jet, what are you doing on board?
On a business jet, normally I enjoy the views with traveling and seeing new stuff. Example, if I commute from my home from Monaco to Switzerland, we fly over the Alps, and I'm always looking at the mountains. It's just so stunning.
You're spotting your next cycling road?
Yeah, exactly. And then I play some games on my phone.
Yeah.
Or go through some messages or emails, stuff like that. So try to combine the travel in terms of relaxing, but also doing something useful.
Valtteri, we're in a private jet business, and of course you fly through different time zones, and sometimes it's really covering a vast amount of time zones. What are your top 3 advices fighting jet lag?
Number 1, coffee. Number 2, stick to the rhythm, your normal daily rhythm for bedtime, breakfast, lunch, dinner, when you wake up. So quickly to the rhythm. And number 3, exercise. A light exercise, even on the day of arrival, can be very good for your body to know what time of the day it is.
Okay, we will share and then we give you feedback. Okay.
Okay, good.
Actually, are you driving cars outside of F1 as well, and do you like it?
I love cars, not only race cars, but also road cars. And in our household, I'm always the driver. I always like to drive. So, but it's obviously a different game on the normal roads. It's not about racing. It's more about enjoying the journey and the scenery and the vehicle you're in.
The races on Sunday usually starts on in the afternoon, except the night races. But what is your preferred lunch you have before you jump in your race car?
Normally, I have lunch about 2.5 hours to 45 before the race, so there's time to digest. And it's unfortunately not very exotic or exciting. It's quite simple rice dish with a little bit of chicken and vegetables, but mainly rice.
I'm impressed how you manage the energy, because now you have 24 races in a season, and I think 10 years ago we had not that many races on a season. Energy management is quite an important part for your life, right? What did you change to manage now 24 races compared to a few years ago where it was much less?
Yeah, I found that it's so important between the races to be able to disconnect, especially mentally. Of course, physically you need to do the right things to recover, but mentally humans are way stronger than physically, so that goes first. So for me, the way to disconnect is in fact sometimes traveling, because it feels like it doesn't take away my energy, it gives me energy. And same with the cycling, to see new places, it's mentally refreshing. I can process my thoughts of the previous weekend and become fresh, and that keeps me going. So even a single day off becomes so important that you can disconnect.
I see. So would you say, as an advice from you to our audience, that taking care first mentally is more important than physical health?
I mean, I wouldn't downplay the physical health aspect. That's really important, and my training and nutrition keeps me healthy, and good sleep keeps me physically healthy. That's important, but mentally, yeah, I would say it's so important to stay fresh and sometimes switch things that you're doing, because like for me, I used to go through that phase that my life was 24/7 about F1. Everything was about F1, but I realized quite quickly that it was just draining my batteries, and I started to lose that excitement and that good energy. But I'm glad I realized it, and now I can switch back and forth doing different things, and at every race weekend when I get there, I feel 100% and ready to go.
Okay. Did you learn and reflect yourself and then you developed, or had you some people around you giving you advices and said, okay, Valtteri, look, this is what you have to work on?
Let's say in a bad way, that I overdid things. I was mentally and physically very tired.
And you felt it?
I felt it completely, and I wasn't anymore performing like I wanted. And even simple things in life didn't feel that fun anymore. So I went through a phase that I actually needed some advice from a professional to give some ideas, and tried a few things. And then I just learned that, okay, yeah, we humans, we're not machines. We can't be operating at 100% 24/7. Yeah, we need to give ourselves some leash, let's say, and allow us to relax and do other things. Sometimes taking a step away, looking at the big picture, can make a big difference.
I see. Yeah. Was there actually any advice from any of your race colleagues, where you said this is one of the best advice I ever received from my peer group?
One advice it was from Mika Häkkinen. Yeah. He's a very experienced F1 driver, double world champion. He was my childhood hero. He advised me once when he saw that I was a bit stressed that you should go and walk in the woods. I was like, what? Yeah, just go in the forest and walk. Try. And I tried, and I was like, it actually works. Like, it can, being one with the nature, it's actually, yeah, you start to think differently and you start to release stress. So that was kind of cool. Simple advice, but if you're stressed, go in the woods.
Okay, cool. I know that you as a race driver, and I see your passion, and you're so really passionate about, you're fighting for every thousandth of second basically during races, which is great. It's sport, really. It's a machine and the race driver. But how do you see the marketing aspect of Formula One as it became a real huge market, a global marketing platform, right? Probably one of the biggest in any kind of sports.
Formula One is a big business. There's lots of money involved, lots of important people and brands involved. So that means politics, that means business, marketing is huge. And F1 at the moment is booming. Like, the audience numbers, the spectator numbers, they are all-time high, which is, I think, great for the sport. The more visibility, the better for the sport. But that also means then for teams and drivers, more commitments, more events, more meet and greets, engagements, all kinds of things. But that's why you need to be careful as a driver and with your team not to overdo things, because in the end, with all these things going with F1, I always need to, when I go to a race weekend, I always need to remind myself, why am I there? I'm there because I want to perform on track, and everything else needs to be secondary.
I see.
But also that the media and the attention is part of the sport. So again, it's finding that right balance.
Would you agree that the Netflix series, Drive to Survive, was a big push for the entire F1 industry?
Yeah, Drive to Survive was a big push, especially in certain markets like US. I've seen a massive growth thanks to Netflix, but even in the countries in Europe. I went recently to South Africa, and I didn't know how many fans they have. They love F1, and again, big thanks to Netflix. And I think Netflix has reached also a lot younger audience, which obviously means good for the future, because if you become a fan as
you develop the fan, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think it was quite a smart move by F1 to do it.
Okay, cool. Is there any racetrack you would say this is your absolute #1 favorite track?
Japan, Suzuka.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And why?
It's just like a big boys roller coaster.
Really?
It's like there's quite a lot of elevation change, which you don't see from the TV.
You have been there a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so flowing, high speed. Also the history of the place. I love it every time.
And is there any other race series you are interested in apart from F1? Just for your personal interest?
I actually love all the racing. So F1 obviously still in the years to come is the priority and will be. But eventually I feel like life after F1, when it comes, I'll always be driving something. So whether it's in America, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Australia, that's still an open plan. I usually tend to follow my passion in life, and I'm curious, that will take me one day.
Okay, interesting. Coming back to time, so we see as well our team is a time machine, for sport athletes like you, and we see how important time it is. But what would you say if you look at the private jet business? Where would you say, as a passenger, as a user, where we could even perform better and improve that you gain even more time? What would you say have you observed over the years?
I mean, I'm already saving and investing to myself by having more time, by using GlobeAir, and I've really enjoyed it. The network in Europe is huge, and how quickly I can actually get from one place to another if I suddenly decide whether it's myself or my work commitments decide. So it's been impressive. Of course, as a racing driver, you always want to go faster. So the planes could fly even faster.
So we invest in faster planes.
Exactly.
Okay, I take this advice.
Yeah, bigger engines. That always helps. But no, honestly, I've been more than happy with what I'm getting from GlobeAir.
Okay, thank you. Actually, there is one thing which we're working on as an industry. We want to have more direct routes and not having, flying on airways, because it's about saving fuel and time. Yeah. So, and talking about fuel brings us to an interesting question. I mean, Europe, as you have noticed, is pushing this net zero and really moving forward to sustainability. How do you see the challenges even for F1 as the top level of motorsports, and now also having to address this sustainability area? What's your personal approach to that?
Yeah, it's a good topic and good question. I think Formula One is doing a lot in terms of trying to be as economically good as possible. They're aiming to be, as the whole sport, net zero by 2030, and that would be, if that can be achieved, that would be huge. Obviously, it is a big circus traveling around the world, but there's a lot of work to be done in terms of the efficiency of the calendar. Where we go, where we race, how people get there, where people stay, what do they do, where they stay, all these things. So there's a big push for that, and every team is motivated as well to be as good as possible. An example, our base here. At stake, F1 team Gig Sauber, this factory has been carbon neutral since 2011, I believe. So long time ago, which I thought is a really cool fact, actually. So yeah, there's a big push for that. And same for me with traveling. I'm a big fan of setting the CO2 emissions when I travel. Always when there's an opportunity, I do it. So it's
we appreciate. Really great. You're a role model for many people on the globe. So, what is your advice you want to give from your experience as a very experienced race driver, as a passionate race driver, and also as a, let's say, a maturing person? What is your number one advice you want to give to our audience?
Number one advice, what I've found in life, is that follow your passion. Sometimes you need to be brave to do that, but if you do things with passion, you do them so much better than if you don't have that spark. So follow your passion and it will be a beautiful journey ahead.
We take this advice, and thank you for your time, Valtteri. Really appreciate it. All the best for the next race weekend.
Thank you.
Good. Bravo.